Hello, Vault Dwellers. Today, I am lucky enough to get to show you one of these, an Xbox Elite controller. Now, I got to spend a week with this bad boy, testing it out, seeing what I liked about it, what I didn't like, and I'm now going to give you the lowdown so that you can decide if you want to go and buy yourself one too. First, let's see what's in the box. Opens quite smoothly because I have opened it already. Snazzy little carry case for your controller. We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll just pop that behind us. Whoop. When you lift off the secret cover panel, you get the best thing in the box. And what that is a threaded USB cable. I honestly, it's sad to say this is the best thing I found in the box. I love threaded cables, increased durability, and all that jazz. Now, everything else in the box you're going to find is your manuals and pretty much your warranty papers, that sort of stuff. But nothing else interesting at all. Let's see what's in the case. Now that exactly shows one of the problems with this carry case. It seats pretty well, but if you leave it alone and if you throw this into a bag or anything like that, it does tend to shift, especially the little pieces at the bottom. All your customizable pieces tend to get thrown around a little bit during transport. Now, you've got a whole bunch of customizability. For instance, you can take off all the little bits and bobs and replace it with classic D-pad. I tried using the little snazzy indented one. I did not enjoy it that much, so I immediately switched over to the D-pad. You'll see that you have got a concave and a convex analog stick. But you'll see in the box is contained another set of concave sticks. The only difference is the height that they sit. Oh, I'm battling with up and down apparently. So that is what you're looking at when you use the two. Now they're completely interchangeable, so if you want one concave and one convex, by all means do that. I actually tended to stick with the classic Xbox controller scheme with concave all around. Now what you've also got is these little paddles that you can add onto the back. Whoop. Up to 4 separate paddles. Whoop. Now, at first, they might seem well spaced out, but what I found was, while adjusting my hands using the controller, I'd often hit them by accident, which meant I would throw random grenades or just reload randomly in the middle of a firefight when I didn't mean to. So you're going to have to watch out for that until you get used to them. Other than that, they are fairly useful. Having jump on the back there, I could go for that any day of the week. Now, any additional configurations, you can change between 2 presets that you have to have the Xbox Elite app to use. So know that if you do want to use the button configuration settings, you will have to get that application. And you can store 2 onto a Elite controller. Second lastly, let's just grab these little paddles off. There's 2 more things I want to show you on the back. You have these little switches on each side. What that lets you do is configure how far back your triggers will go to allow for a more hair trigger type feel and more variable trigger feel. Now, what you would generally do is use your variable triggers on things like racing games where the amount you hold down the trigger makes a difference, and you would set it to the block trigger with something that's like a shooter game, because it doesn't really matter how hard you push down, it's going to pull the trigger. Now, As I said, that was the second last thing I wanted to mention. The last thing I have to mention is batteries are included. Yes, they give you 2 AA batteries with the controller. Some might say it's a little stingy. I mean, $15 and you could get a planned charge kit. 10% of the total cost of the controller could be your planned charge kit. Some might say it's a bit too much to include with it. But now the main reason why I wanted to mention that was your standard controller is a couple millimeters larger. The Elite controller is a couple millimeters larger than the standard controller, and it has roughly 60 grams on it as well, depending on what type of battery you use. The planned charge kit is about 10 grams lighter than using standard batteries. People might not think this would make that big a difference, but when you're playing for 6 hours straight, you will feel it on your wrists. So be kind, get the planned charge kit. It will save you 10 grams, but if you do battle, the Elite controller's extra weight might be what causes that. For a full written review of this controller, head over to GeekNode. They will have it up, and check out some of the other stuff that they have. Pretty decent reviews, and they do a weekly podcast. Other than that, guys, keep it real. So remember, please give me a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't, and if you can, why don't you hit subscribe now?